Hello there, my name is Di Martin and I'm the founder of Click to Heal Dog Training, and I'm here today to tell you a really important fact about puppy training, and that is about not removing anything physically from your dog's mouth. Now, a lot of my clients may say to me, how do I stop them playing with stones in the garden? But this isn't just about stones in the garden, this is anything that your puppy picks up in the house or outside on a walk. What we don't want to do is be physically removing and opening their mouth to remove that object. And here's the reason why. They picked up a stone in the garden, we think, oh, it's a little bit dangerous. Okay, so we wander over to them, we open their mouth and we take it. And it works the first time and it works the second time. But remember, your puppy is learning in patterns and pictures and forming emotions based on those patterns and pictures. So once I try and do that the third time, the puppy knows exactly what I'm going to do. And as I wander over to them, they're going to start running off with the stone because they know I'm going to take it. And what I've done by physically removing it from the puppy's mouth is I've made it more interesting to the puppy, because if I want them all, this object must be good. So what I'm doing is adding value to those objects and almost making the problem worse. What the puppy's learning in picture form is that when I approach them with my hands out, that potentially I'm going to do something negative, like remove something from their mouth or stop them doing something that's of interest to them. And I need to make sure that all of my approaches to the puppy are green, and the green's got to outweigh the red. So if I go over to stop them doing something or I go over to take something from them, then they're red situations. If I just walk over, give them a treat and wander away again, that's a green situation. That's going to make your puppy happy about you approaching them. So in all situations, we want to make your puppy happy about you physically approaching them. Now, you may have seen my other video on some classic condition tools, the kissy noise, the treat party, and the pup, pup, pup sound. So we have some of those tools that we can begin to use in those situations when they have picked up something. What we've got to be careful of, though, is remember they're learning in patterns. So if every time they pick something up and I make a kissy noise and they drop it and come running to you for a treat, and you give them the treat and you quickly pick up the object, then they're going to learn that you're using that as a tool to get the object. So they're very quickly going to learn these things. So we need to be one step ahead of them and not using the same pattern. The first thing we need to do is decide, well, is that dangerous or not? Do we need to act straight away? So if the puppy's just picked up your slippers, let the puppy run around with your slippers for a while. Okay, and the reason for this is if we're removing things physically from the dog's mouth, eventually they could start getting possessive about these items. And when they hit adolescence, they might start stealing the slipper, hiding under the table. You reach in to go and get your slipper and they start growling and get possessive about that. And that can build up to resource guarding and then biting you. But it can also expand into other regions, because remember, it's about the picture as well. So if I forward approach you and put my hands out when you're on the sofa just to give you a stroke, they may get a negative emotion attached to that situation because of the picture that you're presenting, and that can lead to location guarding. Okay, location guarding is an important one to be aware of as well, because it can happen with children in the family, simply with the children going over to try and stroke the puppy when it's asleep, because that way when it's asleep they're not going to be mouthing at them and they feel it's safe. Okay, but the puppy being disturbed when it's asleep all the time, again, can create a negative emotion. And that's not going to be good for the children being able to bond with the puppy. So there's a great saying, let sleeping dogs lie. And that's exactly what we need to do, is not approach the puppy when it's asleep. Okay, so puppy's in the house and they've got this item. What are we going to do about it? There's lots of things we can do to distract puppies. If you simply picked up a toy and made some silly noises and got the toy moving around, they're going to be more attracted to the movement because of the prey drive, so they're probably going to drop the slipper and they're going to come and play with you. What we're not going to do is pick up the slipper immediately. We could pick it up in the middle of a play session because they're more into the toy once we've built the arousal on the toy, and just pop it on the side. But on the whole, we want to look at puppy-proofing the house to avoid them being able to pick these things up. And that includes the stones in the garden. If you've only got a small area and you can put some heavy rubber matting over it or some way of, blocking the puppy to get to that area, great. On the whole, with stones, I must admit, I just watch my puppies and I'm just careful over not making a big thing of it. In the most cases, they're going to drop these stones. If I'm going to begin to take them off of them, that's when the puppy may build up to swallowing these things, because that way they get to keep them. Okay, I could teach them some simple phrases. And I need to do this via classical conditioning. So with classical conditioning, we would say the phrase, let's go in the garden. And then we would get up and go towards the back door. So that way they're going to begin to learn the phrase, because we've got the pause in there between, the sentence that we've said on our action. So that's really important for, pauses are really, really important, which you would have seen hopefully in the other videos about classical conditioning. We can absolutely announce treat party, drop a handful of treats. They're going to drop the object they've got. They're going to go again, eat the treats. Again, I'm not going to rush for the item. What I may do when they're finished is do another treat party further away. And when I know their back is turned and it's safe for me to pick up the item, then that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so if we taught simple phrases, like maybe we've got a choo-choo time, okay, which means I'm going to go to the drawer where I keep the chews and I'm going to give you a chew, or we've got a what's in the toy box. That's going to be a toy box with a lid on it, which contains toys that I'm going to play with the puppy with. So these are different toys, because novelty is going to be more of interest and they're more likely to play with it. So I can teach lots of phrases to be able to redirect the puppy's attention, and I can also teach them phrases in the garden. I have a what's in the bucket? And in the bucket again, I've got some toys, maybe I've got some kind of dry food that's going to be okay, given the weather conditions, being contained in a bucket in the garden. And again, if they were obsessively digging or anything like that, or a behaviour I wanted to stop, I could just announce what's in the bucket and go to the bucket and get out a toy and play with the dog and just get their attention onto something else. So these are things that can help outside as well as indoors. Okay. Also, so you've got simple phrases that you can use. You've got some of your conditioned tools like your treat parties and your kissy noise. You've got your body language and just being silly, get down on your hands and knees like you're going to play with a puppy. They're going to drop the slipper and they're going to come over to you because there's something more interesting going on. And what we want to do is use a mix of all the different tools that we've got in order to get objects off the puppy, so that there's no one pattern. Okay, and if the object isn't dangerous, let them have it. If I've accidentally dropped my Tesco's till receipt on the floor and the puppy's gone in to grab it, then let them have it, let them shred it. They're going to get bored of it. I can go and clean that up later on and not worry about it. Particularly they like maybe taking socks when you're putting them into the washing machine. Again, they've run off with a wet sock or a dirty sock. You haven't put it in the machine yet, or maybe as you're getting it out of the machine. We've just got to learn from that and then put some patterns in place. The puppy's just getting interested in that washing because you're playing with the washing. Okay, so just by maybe having a phrase like Kong time, which can be any treat-based toy, and giving them that Kong so that they've got something to do while we're loading the washing machine or taking the washing out, or if we're hanging it up, maybe don't have puppy with you because that's going to be quite tempting for them. Okay, so on the whole, don't remove anything from your puppy's mouth. And I would say even if it was dangerous, because say if they picked up something like glass, me opening their mouth and them trying to keep it and me trying to get it out is probably more dangerous than me doing a treat party and them just spitting it out nice and cleanly so that I can get that object. Okay. Another important thing that I try to say to clients as well is try to play with tuggy toys with your dog and play more tug interactive games. Not only does that have huge benefits in relationship building and confidence for the puppy, but if we were to play ball, which a lot of people do, you roll the ball and when the puppy comes back, what you might be tempted to do is reach out your arms to take the ball so you can throw it again. What the puppy's seeing is just that body language again of you're going to take it and you are going to take it in order to throw it again. And again, what that will create over time is the puppy not wanting to return to you because you keep taking their items. So ideally, if they're coming back with a tuggy toy, we can kind of rough up the puppy and kind of just give them body contact and say, oh, what have you got? Look what you've got. And then do a little tug and then let go of it again and then do some body contact so that the puppy understands that we're trying to play with them. If you really do want to be able to roll a ball and then bring them back, then I would mark and reward with food. But what you're doing then is putting most of the emphasis on the food reward rather than the play behaviour. So do try to establish play behaviour by tugging with your dogs. Okay, so really important message, do not physically remove things from your puppy's mouth. Create your tools to help you manage this and redirect their attention.